Starting us off is Sophie Letcher.
Sophie Letcher. Oh, wait a minute. Let me do the introduction, you guys. Sophie Letcher is the co-founder and CEO of EntoCellular, a Tufts University spin-out company creating novel, sustainable, ethical, and scalable animal proteins for pet food. Co-founding EntoCellular has led Sophie to rapidly learn about entrepreneurship with the help from the Tufts Derby Entrepreneurship Center and Mass Challenge Switzerland Accelerator. She's excited to continue learning and finding ways to improve the current food production system using biotechnology. Please join me in enthusiastically welcoming to the IdeaCon stage, Sophie Letcher.
2 months ago, I graduated from Tufts University with my PhD in biomedical engineering, which really means that I spent about 3 of the past 5 years of my life like this. What was I looking at? Cells grown from caterpillar eggs. So one day I'm sitting there looking at these cells. They're looking at me. I'm thinking about their past, thinking about my past. And I started to think, maybe we're not that different. Maybe this incredible journey that the caterpillar cells go through, from the egg to the caterpillar to the chrysalis to the butterfly or the moth, is what I'm going through in my professional career. Now it's possible that the long hours in the lab had clouded my judgment, but today we're just going to run with it. So this is my entrepreneurial journey as told through the life stages of a caterpillar. Let's start with the egg. Caterpillar eggs are blank slates. Inside, the cells are dividing like crazy, consuming everything that's available to them. This was me as an undergrad at Kenyon College. I started school thinking I'd be an international diplomat. Then I fell in love with neuroscience. And my first job after graduation was here in Boston, working as a technician in a lab. And while I still really loved the science part of it, I was also starting to seriously question my career. I was getting increasingly concerned with the climate crisis, and I wanted to find a way that I could connect biology with a career that would have a positive environmental impact. But I had no idea where to start. So, like any good scientist, I turned to Google to kickstart my research. And I think it was this exact Google search, it was biology plus sustainability jobs, that led me to discover the field of cultivated meat. So cultivated meat is real meat, made by growing animal cells instead of whole animals. And it uses less land, less water, and cuts the greenhouse gas emissions that are inherent in the large-scale factory farms feeding the world today. And no animals have to be farmed in the process. This just blew my mind. It was science plus sustainability plus food. I was hooked. And some of the only research going on around cultivated meat at the time was here in Boston at Tufts University. So I cold emailed Dr. David Kaplan, the professor in charge of this magical lab, and I was fortunate to pursue a career in the next cohort of graduate students. Enter the caterpillar phase. And if there's one thing we know about caterpillars, it's that they are hungry. Once they hatch, caterpillars eat nonstop, sometimes doubling in size every single day. And this was me in grad school, except I was consuming knowledge, scientific skills, how to communicate science clearly, problem solve, and lean on people around me to make sense of how this science fit into the real world. I also met a fellow graduate student, collaborator, and great friend, Michael, who was also clearly in his caterpillar phase. And while what got me into the lab originally was this exciting possibility of growing meat from farm animal cells, it was becoming increasingly clear during these studies that it is faster, easier, and cheaper to grow meat from caterpillar cells. And they have the same nutrition as those farm animal cells. And this was fascinating to both Michael and me. So we decided this is something that we would want to work on together after graduation. And then our academic funding fell through, and our options were limited. And this was a turning point for us, because we both really believed in the promise of this technology when we were not ready to walk away. So we pivoted, mimicking what the caterpillar does during the chrysalis phase. So when a caterpillar turns into a chrysalis, it takes all that energy stored during the caterpillar phase, it melts it down into a liquid, and then it builds it back up into a new form. For Michael and me, we needed to build back from an academic research project and explore the possibility of doing something different. We'd seen several successful businesses spin out of our lab before, but we never thought that that could be us. But now we thought, why not us? And at first, it felt like all of our past experiences were irrelevant. But we quickly learned that those skills that we acquired during graduate school, the communication, the networks, the problem solving, were vital to the foundation of a company. We also knew that we couldn't do this alone. So we reached out not only to our lab, but to the Tufts Derby Entrepreneurship Center. And with their help and encouragement, we entered the Tufts New Venture competition, and we won first place. Thank you. And this gave us the confidence that we needed to pursue this full time. And so in April, we launched EntoCellular. And EntoCellular provides sustainable, nutritious, cruelty-free protein ingredients for pet food using those insect cells. We're starting with pet food because it accounts for 20% of the global meat consumption. And we know if we can make an alternative for just a small part of this, we're making a difference. And now, we're 8 months into startup life. We recently traveled to Switzerland as part of the Mass Challenge Food Sustainability Accelerator. We've created our first dog treat prototype. We've made some great connections in the pet food industry, and we have plans to get back into the lab in the next 6 months to improve our product. And so, here we are, ready to emerge as our beautiful butterfly co-founders. Although I'd say personally, I identify a bit more with a moth. Still a bit clumsy, sometimes flying into lights that zap me, but still incredibly resilient and ready to fly and keep exploring. So think about these 4 phases and how they might work for you. First, changing your mind can be a great thing. It means that you're learning. Next, having a big appetite for seemingly unrelated things can sometimes feel unfocused, but trust that those pieces will come together. Also, don't be afraid to just dissolve everything sometimes. You're probably more ready than you think to turn yourself around. And finally, don't be afraid to fly into the light. You'll find others who champion and support you as you find your way. This journey has been messy, it's hard, but it's also the most exciting thing that I've ever done. Thank you.